Get that. Okay, I think it's recording. Great. Everyone can hear me, right? Okay, cool. Okay, like I said at the beginning, I don't have like a specific layout of how I'm going to talk about anything. I just wanted to open it up to questions and answers. You could ask questions that some of your teammates have commonly asked, anything that you've been wondering about the business. You can ask literally anything. You can ask it in the chat, or you can just hop on your voice or whatever and ask, any questions that you have. So let's get started. Who wants to ask the first question? Or I can wait till it goes in the chat too. Okay, someone asked, what programs do you use to create your content on Instagram? So I only use one program. I use Procreate. A lot of people ask, can I use Procreate on my iPhone? And I wouldn't suggest that. So I actually have an iPad Pro and then an Apple Pencil, which is the key. And then I use Procreate through that. And then I download fonts from Creative Market, which they have like a ton of different assets that you can buy from different like small creators. And so, that's where I create all of my stuff. And then recently I haven't been making a ton of graphics. I will usually just put something on my Instagram story and then like screenshot like mock carts or something, and then use all the Instagram story features as well. So if you don't have an iPad or Procreate, then that's a great option as well. Would you just give us a rundown? Your title, how many days or years with Beautycounter, and how many team members? Yeah, so I started with Beautycounter in March of 2020, which was literally the start of the pandemic. Like I think 2 days after quarantine started. And so, I've been with Beautycounter for 2 years, or a little over 2 years. And I had hit director 2 months into the business. So March, April, and then in May, I hit director for the first time, probably with like 5 team members or something like that. Now I have a team of about 220 people. Those are not all on my level ones. It's just my whole entire downline. My level ones are around probably 50 people, but I would say less than 10 of those actually work the business in some type of way. And then I am currently a executive director with Beautycounter, and I kind of go back and forth between senior director and executive director as of right now. I think I answered all those questions, right? Yeah, okay, cool. Let's see, how to successfully onboard team members and what you give them to start off strong. Onboarding is such like a weird one for me because I've gone back and forth with what I've done since the beginning. First, I was hopping on Voxer, which is the app I use to communicate with my whole team. And I would set up a time to we both would hop on Voxer. I would have them pull up behind the counter on their laptop. And then I would go through each individual tab and just explain what they're looking at. All of like, what's QV, NV, what's start counting, how do you find the digital assets, all of that. And what I found was like, either most of the people would spend like 30 plus minutes on Voxer. We would go through all of that, and then they wouldn't do anything with the business. And I just felt like I was wasting a lot of my time. And then I would also find that the people that were trying to grow their business would come back with questions like 1 or 2 weeks later and be like, okay, wait, can you explain what like new volume is again? And I just felt like it wasn't an efficient way to onboard people. And so now, because so many people join and they want to treat it as like an affiliate link or a super casual side gig, I don't want to like pour all this information out to them that they're honestly not even interested in. And so I will hop on Voxer with them. I'll ask them, like, what is your purpose of joining Beautycounter? What do you want to get out of it? Is there like a specific amount of money you want to make in a month? Just kind of get to know where they're at. Because if they're like, I want to go all in, this is like something I want to try to do full time, then I'm going to treat that person way differently than I'm going to treat someone who just wants to use it as an affiliate link. Because when you think about it, like influencers don't need mentorship. I mean, I guess they can like go and look up calls and things like that on YouTube, but you don't need a mentor to help you with having a little affiliate link. You just post and hope someone messages you or buy something from your link. And so, yeah, now we just talk on Voxer. And then I created a welcome document last year that's 60 pages long. It was a lot of work. But that's what I use for my team now. So it is basically like a one-stop document that I will share with them so they can use it as like a reference guide. Obviously, no one has to look through that whole document, but it's just a way to have like a list of all the important things broken down in different sections. So I feel like that's been helpful. But honestly, it's a lot of just like one-on-one conversations depending on what someone is trying to get out of the business. So I don't have like this crazy organized like onboarding system. It just, again, is super dependent on the different people and what they're trying to get out of the business. Also, if I answer any of these questions and it's just like not thorough enough or anything, feel free to unmute yourself or just say something in the comments. Okay. What did you do before Beautycounter? Right before Beautycounter. So let's see, let's go through the whole year. I was working at Lululemon for about 8 months, and I had recently moved to Bend, Oregon from San Jose, California, where I grew up. And so I was working at Lululemon. It was like kind of like a seasonal position. And that stopped in January of 2020. I got a job at a coffee shop because I was like, I literally just needed a job to pay the bills. Like I was like, I just need something. And it was rough trying to find a job in Bend. Like no one was hiring. And so I did that for about a month, got super bored. And then I applied to do social media and marketing for a small, like kind of bougie little, like jewelry company in Bend. And I worked for literally one day. Then the pandemic hit and they basically let me go because if you don't know, I have a lung disease called cystic fibrosis. And at the beginning of the pandemic, I was like, I have no idea what this virus is. Like, what if it like literally takes my life? Like we didn't know anything about it. Right. And so I told them, I was like, I can't go into work, but I'd love to do this remotely. And they just like, we're not having it. So they just like basically told me, yeah, we don't want to have you anymore. So worked one day, didn't have a job, and then started Beautycounter. And it was so random. Like I had heard about Beautycounter probably a week prior. I just was super excited about the mission. I was super into clean products. It sounded so fun. And I was like, well, I'm gonna be stuck in quarantine, so might as well just do something on the side until I can go back and get a job in the real world. And it kind of took off. So now I get to do this full time and it's so fun. Are you glad that you made a separate Instagram account to share Beautycounter and clean products to start out? Why or why not? So I had my account that I have now. I had that in 2018. So I started that because I actually was doing Young Living, and it wasn't like I was really doing the business side of things. Really, it just, when you join Young Living, you automatically get entered into the business side. It was just how it worked back then. And so I was doing it so casually, but just like to share about clean living. And I honestly started that side account because I was so terrified of what other people were going to think of me talking about like a direct sales company that I just like didn't want to bug the people on my Instagram. Right. And so I started that side page. And when I joined Beautycounter, I had under probably like around 700 followers. Like it wasn't anything crazy, just my side thing. And I would never recommend starting another Instagram account, literally never. It is so much work having to manage both. I don't have anything to be scared of now. Like I get to share about products that I'm passionate about, and like having to talk on both accounts about Beautycounter is exhausting. But I have like an audience on that account and an audience on my Julie X Lawrence account, and it's hard to like merge the both. I would say talk to the people that, this was like kind of beyond what you were asking, but just talk to the people that are already paying attention to you, that are already choosing to follow you because they trust you or they like you or they know you. Definitely don't start another Instagram account if you haven't already, because you have to start from square one. And half the time, like 90% of the people that follow me are Beautycounter consultants, which I love. I love it, but I'm preaching to the choir when I'm trying to do this business, right? So it's a little bit rough sometimes trying to navigate the two, because I get new followers. I'm like, yay, okay, like I get to talk to more people about like clean living, and they're like, it says Beautycounter consultant, and I'm like, okay, I'm fine. But yeah, that's like my long-winded answer. But don't get intimidated by a following, like how many followers people have, because mostly beauty counter consultants here. Again, we love them. My favorite. Okay, next one. How the heck did you get to director so fast? What do you feel like works the best? Do you reach out to people or just share on Instagram and see who comes to you? How I got to director so fast, honestly, Jesus, like I have no idea. It feels like such a blur. I did work a lot. Like I wasn't planning on making beauty counter my full-time thing at all. I told my mentor, which is now a great friend of mine, when I joined, I'm like, I'm never going to do a reach out and I will never get a team member. Like, do not make me do any of those things. That's not happening. That's honestly repulsive to me. And obviously that's not the reality now. And my thoughts have changed on that, but I had made $650 within my first 2 weeks of joining Beauty Counter, just simply sharing on my Instagram and just like talking to the people that were paying attention. I think I did have kind of like my foot in the door at the time because I was already talking about clean products. And so I'd established myself as like kind of like an authority when it came to cleaner and safer living. So when people started to see that I was talking about clean skincare and makeup, they were like, oh my gosh, tell me more. Like Julie must love this stuff. And so that's what I was doing at the beginning. And then people just kind of came to me, some kind of like acquaintances. We weren't good friends at the time. Now we are, but they had reached out and said, okay, I kind of want to join Beauty Counter. It looks super cool. And that's how I hit director. That's not a sustainable way of growing your business or hitting director. Now, when I think about it, I think it was just a very rare time at the beginning of the pandemic where, I don't know, things were different. But I would say if you want to hit director, it's absolutely possible to do it in a shorter amount of time, but it takes work. Like I was only focused on Beauty Counter at the time. So just staying consistent, posting a lot, having those personal conversations, that's what kind of got me there. Obviously, there's a lot more kind of where that came from, but I don't know if there's like a secret formula to like hitting director other than consistency. How do you personally manage your time? Like creating content, posting, researching, what does a week schedule look like for you? I am not organized when it comes to this business at all. Like, I don't know if you guys know Kelly Carollo, but she's my director and really good friend. And I just love her. She is like the most organized person. She has like scheduled days of like when she talks about what, and just like has her whole month planned out. And I'm like, yeah, I'll just wake up one day and be like, okay, I'm going to go post about the mask, or like, I'm going to go reach out to someone. Like, I don't have a structure of what I do. It's like, I truly wing it. But I don't know. I feel like if someone isn't doing this full time, which a lot of you, I don't think are, I would just say, talk about the things that you're passionate about. Maybe starting off the beginning of the week, thinking like, okay, like I want to share something about education, right? Like educating someone on why Beauty Counter, or maybe a specific ingredient that Beauty Counter bans and why it's bad, or whatever, like giving some kind of value to the people that are paying attention. Maybe talking about the business once or twice, talking about the products, like maybe talking about your favorite. Like it doesn't have to be anything crazy. Like don't think about it too much. Just post about what comes to mind and post things and share things that are of value to the people that are watching. Can you walk us through what it looks like if someone reaches out for more info? Where do you start the conversation? How do you color match remotely? What are your next steps in recommending other products? Oh my gosh, I love this one. I just did a call a few weeks ago with my friends, Kristen and Sarah, and we talked about like how to navigate like the conversation, like behind the scenes, because what happens is someone will come and be like, okay, I would love to try the mascara. And then it's easy to be like, okay, here's the link, here's 30% off, there you go. But you have an opportunity to like get them a Flawless 5. And if you are sitting here, you're like, I don't want to be a salesperson. I'm not a salesperson. I don't think Beauty Counter is the right job for you. Like we are sales people. This is a sales job. Unless you want to do this so casually to the point where, again, you're treating it as an affiliate link, like that's great, but like, you're not going to grow in the business. So if you are trying to actually grow your Beauty Counter business, which I'm assuming you guys are because you're spending time out of your day to be on this call and hear about the business, you have to get in a sales mindset. So anyways, kind of navigating that conversation. If someone reaches out to me and they're like, okay, I really want a mascara. I'm like, oh my gosh, have you tried Beautycounter before? No, I haven't, but this looks awesome. Okay, like, what do you currently use for makeup? I use Clinique and Neutrogena. I'm like, okay, will you send me like a picture of the, I don't know, like blush that you use from them? And then I talk about ingredients. I'm like, okay, you're coming to me, you're wanting to switch to safer products. And I know you were talking about mascara, but like, what are you thinking about with the rest of your makeup? Are there like products that you're in love with, products that you're trying to switch out? And obviously, like, don't have this specific conversation with someone, but the key is just to ask more questions. Because someone might be coming in for a mascara, but like the other day, I had this situation literally happen where someone really wanted just a mascara and a brow gel, and she ended up getting the Flawless in 5 and Banana Beauty. And it just was me asking more questions. And like, I was like, okay, like, you're saying that you want these two products. And you also said that you were kind of thinking about getting a concealer. And, you know, if you, do you use blush? Do you use lip gloss? And she goes, yeah, on like other occasions I do, but I don't use it like too often. I was like, okay, like, honestly, my favorite way to switch to safer makeup with Beautycounter is just to get the Flawless in 5, because you're going to save 20%. You're getting all of these products. Like, it's a win-win. Like, if you're going to be buying makeup, just do it all, right? And yeah, ended up with a Flawless in 5 set. So again, it's going to be different person to person, but asking more questions. If they're trying to get skincare, ask about their skin type. What do they love about their skincare routine? What do they not like? What are their targeted issues? Like, the word consultant literally is you're consulting. We're going back and forth and we're having this conversation to get like answers to concerns that these people have, and we're offering a solution. And so if you're just having this conversation and someone says, I want a mascara, then they're going to leave it the mascara if you're not willing to like navigate that conversation and ask more things. And that's not being like salesy or weird or bugging someone or making them feel pressured. If they don't want to buy anything, they're not going to buy anything. But they reach out to you and they want to buy something, and you have the opportunity to help them, number one, maximize their spending. They're going to get more bang for their buck. And they're going to get more for like more results based out of like skincare and all of that. So I don't know if that answers your question. If you have any more like follow-ups with that one, let me know. Obviously, like, yeah, just different from person to person and what you're actually talking about, but just feel confident when you're having those conversations. Do you ever do pop-ups in person, or do you prefer to do them online? How many pop-ups do you have a month on average? I have not done a pop-up in person yet. And most of the reason for that is just because the pandemic, for a while, like, no one wanted to do anything like that. And then now it's just, I just haven't done it yet, but I really want to. So I am planning on doing one this summer with a friend. And so, yeah, we're gonna do that, but I can't say anything on that yet. But as far as doing them online, so I had tried a couple times to do the more formal pop-ups, right? Like that Beautycounter talks about, where you have a Facebook group or your Instagram page and you're inviting people, and then you're posting every day, like a different, I don't know, like topic, I guess, on Beautycounter. You're doing that for a week. And then what happened for me is that like one person ordered or no one really participated. And I felt like I was pouring out so much of my time for very little return. And it just wasn't worth it. And I tried it a couple different times because I'm like, obviously, like, not every pop-up is going to be successful, but for the amount of work that I was putting in, I was like, this is not working. And so my advice for when things aren't working is just stop doing that, or try something different. And again, give it some time, because it could work. It might have just not worked that time, but like, you gotta keep trying different things if it's not working for you. So pop-ups don't work for me. They work for other people. So I do those, like, I do a lot of mystery hostess pop-ups, which essentially is just giving away the product. However, we can't do public giveaways or incentivizing people to shop through us. It's against policy. So I do it privately now. So I basically like open a pop-up, and then when I'm having conversations with people, I'll be like, hey, select my pop-up at checkout and you're entered to win some free and half offs. Or I'll post on my friends list, which are essentially all of my customers, and then like potential customers that I have too. But yeah, I just treat it as like a fun way to do like kind of like a fun like affiliate link, but like giveaway too. And that's been really helpful for me because people love to be enter to win things, and not also have to participate. And I think it really has to do with like a generation thing too, because a lot of like the MDs that have been with Beautycounter for like 5 or 6 years, they like thrive with Facebook pop-ups, and like Facebook is dead to me. Like no one says a thing. So yeah, just kind of trying out all the different things, but that's just what's worked for me right now. To piggyback on the second account question, how did the people already in your life respond when you started to share leading up to now? I'm terrified of people in my life feeling used or like I only care about making a buck. Tips. First question to you, to Kenzie, is are you just trying to make a buck? Because if you're not, then why are you scared of people thinking that you are? If you're truly passionate about these products and the mission and like what you're offering and you're confident in it, like you shouldn't feel like you're being weird or salesy. And I think that just comes from the stigma around direct sales. Like there have been girls in other direct sales companies that have ruined it for people like us that are like truly so genuine and just love these products and the mission. But if you don't want to be salesy, don't be salesy, you know? Like we live in an influencer culture. That's why TikTok is huge, because someone talks about something and it goes viral. And then there's like the TikTok coffee, the TikTok pasta, the dance, like, because we're just influenced. We love being socially sold to, and that's what we're doing. We live in this culture. And so it's such a normal thing, and you shouldn't feel weird or ashamed that you get to make commission off of something that you already are like passionate about, you know? When I first started, no, I didn't have any like people questioning it, at least to my face, right? Because I was already sharing clean products, people were not like surprised that I was talking about Beautycounter now. It's just kind of like flowed into what I was already sharing about. Because I don't just share about Beautycounter. Like I have made it my goal to talk about more than just Beautycounter, but also like, why do we avoid fragrance and how to switch to safer kitchen products or cleaning products? And like, it's not all about Beautycounter for me. And so I think that's a key to this too. If you don't want to be maybe portrayed as someone who's just trying to like sell someone something, like show people why you're in this, you know? Like if you're only posting Beautycounter's, what are those called? Like stock images, right? Like the little pictures that they have in digital assets, and you're just posting those all the time, and you're never showing up with your face and like showing like your mascara and be like, look how good this looks. Like I just put on one coat, it's amazing. Or I just washed my face and I've like never experienced softer skin ever. Like if you're not showing your passion for these products in this business and like having those personal like conversations and like being relational with people through your Instagram, like people are going to assume that it's just to like make money, you know? So yeah, I think the key to not being portrayed as that is to like be authentic in it and like show your passion. And if you're kind of wondering what that could look like for you, think about like maybe an influencer on Instagram that you follow and you just love, like everything she posts, you just are like, I need that. That's amazing. Why do you follow her? What makes you want to buy all the things that she shares? Is it because she has 1 million followers? Is it because she posts like a screenshot image from this website and goes, here's the link? Or is it because she just like is so passionate about the things that she's talking about that it just makes you be like, I need that. Like, that's amazing. Do that because that's what's going to get people to know that you're not just in this for a quick buck, but you're actually like, you love this stuff. Best practices for asking for referrals or giving thank yous for referrals. Yeah, referrals are something that I'm actually working on this month because I've never had like a system in place for referrals. I've done like little things where if someone does refer a friend and they make a purchase, I'll give them money off their next order just through Venmo. But I think like right now I did like a little incentive for people that are already shopping through me. So I posted on my close friends list and said, hey, if you, like, I'm doing a little giveaway this month, and if you want to be entered to win, you could either make a purchase this month, join as a consultant, or refer 2 friends to me. And for referrals, it's not just like them reaching out to their friend and being like, hey, like you might like some clean beauty, go reach out to my friend. They're not going to reach out to me. But it's putting the ball in my court and asking them to give me like 2 friends, like their Instagram handles. And then I can reach out to them and be like, hey, your friend, whatever, recommended you and said that you might love some, like, or might be in the market for some clean beauty or switch to safer products, whatever. And that's a great way of having those conversations. So that's like a fun way to refer people or get referrals. You can just simply ask your top customers, be like, hey, you love this stuff. Do you have any friends in your life that would also love to get some clean beauty? Like, I'd love to send them like a free reflective effect mask and charcoal mask sample, or do like my friend Kristen does like these little spa kits where she got, they were like probably $6 total off of Amazon. She got like these cute little mesh bags and she filled them with some fun samples, but also got like these little, what are they? Face mask tools, like the little brushes, but you can get like a pack of like 20 for like $5 on Amazon. And she like made these cute little spa kits and she sent them to these like friends of friends. And that's how she started those conversations, because it was more than just some samples. It was like a fun way to like introduce someone to clean beauty. And she said she's had a pretty good return on those. So there's a lot of different ways. I'm still trying to test things out and I'll keep you updated on what ends up being the best way to do that. And because I haven't done like a ton of referrals, I don't know the best like response to like giving thank you for referrals. You mentioned a close friends list. How did you get this started and how do you use it? I'm considering something like this instead of a separate account. Yes, definitely would recommend that. I had a separate account for my Band of Beauty members and it was just like kind of pointless. Like, I don't really know why I did that. So I stopped that. Again, it's a lot of like trial and error with things in this business. So I don't know if you're asking like actually how you start it, but there's like a little thing on your Instagram. So if you go to your Instagram, I'm trying to think how to do this. There's like these little dashes in the top right corner. And if you click that, you can click where it says close friends, and then you can add people. So once you have those added, when you go to post a story, there's an option to just share to your close friends. And it's basically like a private story. And so what I'll do is I'll add all of the people that have ever purchased from me. And then if I'm having a conversation with someone and they haven't ordered yet, but they have been like thinking about it, I'll add them to that list. Because if I'm doing like, you know, the giveaways, mystery hostess, like fun things, then they can decide when they want to place an order. Anyone that I think would love Beautycounter that maybe we haven't had conversations yet, I'll add them to that list. So it's just like a private way of incentivizing without getting in trouble. Let's see. Has it been scary to be doing Beautycounter full time? Has there ever been a month you fear you won't make enough that you and your husband need for y'all's expenses? Actually, no. I have never once questioned my paychecks with Beautycounter. So again, when I first started, I'm just gonna be transparent about like finance wise, so then you can know that like, number one, it's possible to make money with Beautycounter and it's possible for it to be consistent. Made $650. Next month, my paycheck doubled. And then after that, hitting director, there has not been a month since I hit director where I didn't hit director or more again. So it was very consistent from director up. And now my paychecks are, they're really consistent. The lowest paycheck I probably have had in the past, like, I don't know, year or so has been about 4,500. And they fluctuate. So I've had paychecks that have been like 7,000. I have paychecks that have been 10. Like, it just kind of depends on the month and if there's like a sale or promo or holiday or whatever. But it's very consistent. However, there was a time where I wasn't like scared at all, but my paychecks still, like, my husband had been working at a coffee shop and then his, like, the coffee shop world was just like not it for him. And then he started working at our church. And if you know anything about church work, you know, you do not make good money at all. And so I was like, this is going to be our main source of income. And I wanted my husband to be able to do something he loved. And I started my Etsy shop, which was like my side gig, because I wanted to be able to have extra money on top of what I was making with Beautycounter on the slower months. So months where I was making closer to maybe 4,000. This is before my paychecks were like super consistent. I just wanted some extra money, and that was like the best decision for me. So having, two little, Beautycounter is not a little business anymore, but having my Etsy shop be like another side thing for me was helpful for us. So we didn't have to take out of our like main income with Beautycounter. Also, just want to remind you too that like this is my full-time job. So I spend all my time, well, you know, most of my time doing Beautycounter and working this as my full-time job. So that's how it became consistent for me. And that's why it still is consistent. Like I don't have another option other than Beautycounter. So like I have to work and I have to make this like be consistent. How do you communicate with your past customers? Behind the counter stock emails seem clunky and not the most streamlined, efficient ways to communicate thoughts. Yeah, past customers. Are you talking about, yeah, I might need clarification on this one. So when you say past customers, are you saying like people that have purchased like 6+ months ago? Are you talking about people that have purchased a couple of weeks ago and just like how to follow up with them? Yeah, what are the specifics with that? I'm going to enter someone in the waiting room. Okay. Yeah, once you answer that, I'll go back to that question too. Do you ask clients for their Instagram handle so you can follow them? All of my business comes from social media. So it starts with Instagram and then becomes a client, not the other way around. But I would say, yeah, I would say if you have more people that have come from not social media, then yeah, just be like, hey, like I talk a lot about Beautycounter stuff and like promos and all of that and on my Instagram. So I would love to know your Instagram handle so I can follow you and keep you in the loop on all the things. Do you send out thank yous with a sample to your customers? Actually, yeah. So anyone that's brand new, I will send them a little note. So I have my cards for my Etsy shop that I write on, and then I will send samples in their mail, usually just like a product that I feel like they might like based on our past conversations. Like maybe they were ordering the, I don't know, some counter match products, but they really wanted to keep their skin bright, but they didn't get the C serum this time. I'll drop in the C serum for them to try, or a couple extra products. So if they get like a couple counter time products, but they didn't end up getting the serum or the toner, I'll throw that in too, just so they can try some extras. And most of my samples are given to people that have purchased from me, not people that haven't purchased, because I don't know if you guys have sent samples and have had people ghost you a million times, but I've wasted literally so much time and money on people that say they're going to, you know, use the sample and they're so excited and then they ghost me. So now they're given to people that actually care about Beautycounter. Again, trial and error. You just don't know. Samples work for a lot of people, but not for me, apparently. Okay. Oh, also going off of that question too, some extras. When someone makes a purchase, I will follow up with them probably about 2 or 3 weeks later, just to check in, see how they're liking their products. And the same with like sending them samples or a note in the mail. Hey, did you get my mail or did you get a chance to try my sample? And yeah, I'll do that after like 3 weeks. And then usually about 2 months later, I'll follow up with them too, to just check in, see if they need to like add anything or if they're content with what they're, I don't know, whatever, what they bought. And then I will, most of my customers are Band of Beauty members. And so I will follow up when they have expiring product credit too, or if there's any like fun promos that are going on for them. Okay, Ashley responded to the question above. Okay, I have to go back to that one. How do you communicate with your past customers? Okay. Like when BC gives you the updates, reach back out to them to reorder. Okay, yes. So Beautycounter's little notification section is not my favorite ever, but it actually helps me know when people are like in need or might be in need of like a replenishment. So I will usually look at, like right now we have 30% off going on, right? So I'll go to my behind the counter and I'll filter it by check-in. So it's like hasn't purchased in like 2 to 4 months. And then I will reach out to those who haven't purchased in a little bit and be like, hey, I know it's been a few months since you've ordered. I didn't know if you needed a restock on your face wash. But right now, if you use another email, you can get 30% off your purchase, which is more than I get as a consultant. And yeah, I just want to check in to see if you needed any replenishment or wanted to try anything different. And so, yeah, I'll do it that way. And then, yeah, anyone that hasn't purchased in like over 6 months, when there's like a fun promo going on, like 30% off. And that's a great time to check in as well. How do you do your reach outs? Also, how do you manage tax season? Okay, two separate questions. How do you do your reach out? So it just depends. I reach out to people that haven't purchased before. A lot of the time it's to people that have recently followed me that might not be a beauty counter consultant. So most of the time they are, but if they're not, I'll reach out and be like, hey, I just saw that you followed me. Are you interested in clean beauty? I'm only asking that because most of the time when people follow me, that's why they're here. So just kind of like asking them why they're around and starting conversations that way. And then also like doing reach outs too. It doesn't always entail me being like, hi, have you tried Beauty Counter before? Like just trying to get them to buy something. Sometimes I'll just start conversations based on like the things that I've seen through like their profile or whatever, like follow them and like interact with their stories. Because then when I reach out and like we're talking about Beauty Counter, it's not like out of the blue, you know? And sometimes it is like, sometimes I'll literally just reach out and be like, hey, I know that you've been following my account and I just wanted to see, have you ever used Beauty Counter before? Like keep it short and sweet. Do not be like, hey girl, like I love your hair on your profile. It's so gorgeous. Like, hope you're doing well during COVID, you know, like just get to the point. Like everybody can see through that stuff. Like just keep it so simple and think like, if it was the other way around, if someone is reaching out to you about a product, how would you want to be approached? I kind of think about it that way. How do you manage tax season? Okay, I would love to know more about what like specifically you're asking on that one. This last tax season was so rough. I was not prepared, let's just say. So last year I got a CPA to help me with my taxes because just like being in network marketing and doing this full time, I was like, I can't figure this out. I'm not going to try to get in trouble. So hired a CPA. I was setting aside 30% of my paychecks every month. And that's great and stuff, but I also forgot to do that with my Etsy shop, which kind of screwed me over a little bit. So yeah, I had to learn a lot in this past year of taxes, but I owed about probably 4 times more than I thought I was going to owe, which was rough. And so with tax stuff, I would say if you're doing this full time, get a CPA, don't try to do it on your own. And then always, set aside 30% of your paycheck monthly. I will like last night, I went through like all of my expenses for my Etsy shop and my beauty counter job and just the littlest things. If I sent like someone something and it was $3 to ship it, write that down because you can write that off. Any miles. So if I'm going to go drop something off at the post office, I will keep track of my miles and write that off. If I go to a coffee shop and sit and work, I'll write my coffee off. Like you just keep track of all the little things so you can maximize your write-offs. That's the key. But yeah, just I would say month by month, set aside 30% if you're making over a specific amount of money, and then keep track of your write-offs. It's probably 50-50, but do you reach out to people about products or wait for them to slide in your DMs? I would say, yeah, like probably 50-50. Again, my business stems all from social media, which is not everybody. A lot of people have a lot of in-person business too, or I don't know, just a lot of different ways you can run this business, but all of my business comes from Instagram. So I feel like a lot of people have reached out to me because, okay, I want to share this because I feel like this is really important when it comes to running your business on Instagram, is you need to make yourself what I call a celebrity authority when it comes to Beauty Counter. And I don't mean you're a celebrity. I don't mean you have 1 million followers or anything like that. But when I say like celebrity authority is like, people are going to reach out to those and want to buy from people that know what they're talking about and that are passionate about what they're sharing. So again, if you're just posting, if I go to your page and I don't even see a thing about Beauty Counter or clean living, I probably won't reach out to you and ask you about Beauty Counter because you don't really know what you're talking about, or I don't know if you know what you're talking about, right? So making yourself known as like, this is what I do, this is what I'm passionate about, that is a really important thing when running a business from Instagram. And so I feel like a lot of people do reach out to me when it comes to product because I've built their trust, right? Like I talk about the business confidently and know what I'm talking about. I talk about the products. I have done so much research just on Google. Like Google is so great for this business. on how to shade match. What do chemical exfoliants do? What is hyaluronic acid and why is it amazing? You know, like just educating yourself through Google and what's offered on there. Like that's why people reach out to me and want to buy stuff. So I would say half of that is people reaching out to me because they trust me. But also I do reach out to people because I want to start those conversations. I can't tell you how many people I've messaged and been like, hey, you've been following my stuff. You still watch my stories. Like, have you used Beautycounter before? Whatever. And they're like, no, but I've been waiting and I've been like watching your stuff. And like, I'm like super interested. I'm like, well, why didn't you reach out? You know, like, I don't know. It's just, that's a very common thing that happens is don't just assume that someone's thinking something because they haven't reached out. They might not even know how to reach out or what they need. And it's up to you to start that conversation. That was a very like long-winded answer for a very simple question. Sorry. Do you feel like you legit have to pay 30% or is that just playing it safe? Oh no, definitely 30% or more. The government rips you apart, takes all your money. It's awful. But also I don't know a lot about finances in the way of like, I don't know if it's really dependent on like state to state or based on like, yeah, how much you make, you're going to be get more taken out. So I don't want to say just 30%. I would say 30% would be playing it safe for someone who does this like super casually. But yeah, I would talk to maybe like look it up on Google or talk to someone that you know that does finance stuff, or I don't know if the bank will answer that question for you, but yeah, taxes are kind of beyond me. That's why I hired somebody. Do you have any tips for color matching? So fun. Yeah, I actually this week I'm going to tackle color matching because it's rough, especially with all of these new concealer shades and the additions to Skin Twin and Dew Skin. I'm like, oh my gosh. I again just looked it up on Google. I said, how do you color match online? And there was a few just like random articles. I don't even remember which ones they were, but if you just search it, you'll be able to see a whole bunch of different ones. There's some fun YouTube videos on it. But I don't know, top questions that I ask people when I'm color matching. Number one, what are your like skin undertones? Like, are you more cool? Are you more neutral? Are you more warm? If they're like, I don't know, that's where I come in and I'm like, okay, like, are your veins green when you look at them? Or are they more purple or blue? Again, all comes from Google and those articles I found. I'll ask them, what's your current foundation, brand and shade? Because once I find that, I'll go to the website, wherever their foundation's from, and I'll see which category it is. So if it's in the fair category, I'm like, okay, now I can keep it in the fair category with Beautycounter and narrow it down to 3 or 4 shades, which is helpful. And then just kind of knowing, yeah, like their undertones with their current foundation too, if it's a good match. Let's see what else I asked them. I asked them to send me a picture of their face in natural lighting. So like right by a window. And that's been helpful too. Sometimes it's hard. So I will send a picture in like a group chat on Voxer to like other team members to get a second opinion. But yeah, just ask a lot of questions. And if you're truly just like not sure, again, ask for a second opinion, and the worst case scenario, they can return it and get the right shade. But I think asking a lot of those questions can help narrow down the different shades. How do you feel confident talking about the products in the beginning of getting started? You know, I didn't think about it too much. I had actually never tried Beautycounter before when I joined. And I ended up buying like a tint skin foundation, a retractable brush, I don't know, like a cleanser for my husband and like a brow gel. So I didn't have a lot. Like I was terrified of buying a starter set because I was like, well, what if like I can't make that money back or whatever? And so I didn't have a lot of products. And I literally, when I got my box, I just was like, look what I got. I'm so excited to try all these products. And then I just showed it on camera and I just tried all the products out and just acted like I'd been using Beautycounter for years. And I think that's important too, is like, number one, don't talk about products you're not passionate about. I used to hate Beautycounter's old mascara, like loathed it. I hated it. So I would tell people that too. I'm like, hey, I love Beautycounter, but this product's trash. And feel confident doing that too. Like not every Beautycounter product has to be your favorite thing in the world. So talk about the things that you are passionate and you're confident in. And yeah, that's going to be the most important thing. Also, I think we got some not on mute. Okay, I think I fixed it. Okay, cool. Yeah, so just show up, feel confident in the things that you're talking about. Is it better to oversave? Oh yeah, definitely. And you can just set it in your savings too. Like if you feel like, okay, like this might be a little bit too much, like worst case scenario, you could just dip into your savings and stuff, but you want to be saving more because you don't want to get to tax time and be like me, where you're like, oh, I owe literally my entire life savings, literally my entire life savings to the government. So just learn from my mistakes. I also, the reason why I got a CPA too is because I wanted to start paying like quarterly taxes, which has been super helpful in saving a lot of money during tax time, having to pay each quarter instead of having to, pay everything at tax time. So that's been helpful as well. Any tips or tricks you recommend that we haven't thought to ask? Ooh. Yeah, I just always go back to the being a celebrity authority idea, because truly, like, I was having this conversation with a friend that saw that I was an executive director of beautycounter, and she was like, Julie, I just looked up the income disclosure, you're joking, like you make that much a month. And I'm like, yeah, like I've been doing this for 2 years, it's my full-time job. And she's like, but you don't even really post reels, or like, how did you, or you don't even have like a crazy amount of followers, like how do you do it? I'm like, because it really has nothing to do with either of those. It doesn't matter what your Instagram looks like or how many followers you have or how many reels you make. I hate reels. I literally love watching them. I hate making them, and it exhausts me. And I don't want to be in this business and work from my phone, social media, and just like be burnt out because I'm doing something that I just like can't stand. And, I'll make a few reels here and there, but like, it's not something that I'm passionate about. And so I don't spend my time doing that. And so when it comes to being like that authority in the business, it's talking to the people that are paying attention to you. I think we get in our heads thinking, like, overthinking this business so much, like, I got to grow my Instagram, or it's got to look like this, or got to, like, what do I talk about today? Just talk about something. Like, there's so much to talk about. You should never sit and ask yourself, what should I post? Because you can talk about the business opportunity. You could talk about what Beautycounter has done for you. You could talk about the fact that gas price, wow, I just had brain. Gas prices are so high right now, and having a side gig is like a must right now. Talk about the reflect effect, falls in 5, like why fragrance needs to be avoided. Like, you don't even need to talk about Beautycounter all the time too. Like, show up and share your day. Talk about your coffee order that you got, or like what the weather's like and whatever. Just talk about whatever on your Instagram, because that's going to build trust with people. That's going to make people want to pay attention when you're talking about things. Again, if you are just treating your Instagram as an infomercial, people aren't going to want to participate in that. Like, people can see through those things. And even if you are passionate about Beautycounter, like, people want real, they want to connect with you. And then also I just skipped over a part of what I was talking about, but my friend that asked me about like how I've done this business, I asked her, I said, why do you follow me and what makes you want to buy from me? And she said, because you are really passionate about the things that you're sharing. And I just like following you. I like what you talk about, and I think you're genuine. That's literally the key to this business. I'm telling you right now, like, people want real. They want you just to be yourself and to share the things that you're sharing in a passionate way. They don't want to just see a graphic. I used to make so many graphics and post so many graphics. And I don't know if you've been following me for a while, but like, I don't post a lot of, like, a crazy amount of graphics anymore. A graphic should always be something you add on to what you're already talking about. So like, if you're talking about Flawless in 5, go on, show the Flawless in 5 set, talk about each product. And then after, those should be like your little additions that you're posting the graphics for the people that like might have skipped through a little bit or didn't have time to watch. Like, don't just make your Instagram an infomercial, but truly like just be you and make yourself that authority when it comes to this business. How much time do you spend on your business on an average day or week? Ooh, that's a great question. I don't know. I feel like it just is week by week. like during months that have more crazy like promos and sales, like I'm working a lot more because I am reaching out to all of my customers and like letting them know, oh my gosh, you can get 30% off right now if you use another email. So I spend more time like doing behind the scenes things. But then on like slower months too, I maybe, I don't know, like it just depends on what the month looks like, honestly. But I would say probably 25 plus hours a week on beautycounter. But again, I don't like sit down and have like a schedule of what my days look like. So it just really depends. Um, any tips on building your team? How do you approach offering the business opportunity? Do a lot of people join you based on your stories and posts, or is it mostly from you approaching someone specifically? Let's see. How do you approach offering this opportunity? Okay. I talk a lot about the business opportunity. And again, it doesn't always look like here you can get 25 to 35% off and there's no monthly minimums. Like I do share a lot about that too, like kind of breaking the stigma of like what Beautycounter is about, but also just like sharing the fact that like the other day, me talking about gas prices, I just shared like, why wouldn't you want to do something like this? And talking to the people that are like kind of on the fence, because not everyone's going to join Beautycounter, right? But to the people that are living paycheck to paycheck, the people that want another fun like outlet or more spending money so they don't have to dip into their budget from their real job. So talking to the like specific people when you're sharing about the opportunity, and then talk about it often. I think you should be talking about the business opportunity more so, if not the same as the products, the amount of times you spend on talking about the products, because it's truly the best part about Beautycounter. Like I wouldn't be here if it weren't for someone talking about the opportunity on their story. And like, this is just the best thing ever. Like I love it. And so I want that for other people too. So yeah, sharing about the business opportunity often. And so pretty much my whole team has come from just me being super consistent with talking about the business opportunity to where people are like, okay, fine, like I want to join. But last month, 2 months ago, I had done my first business reach out since I started. First business reach out. Like, I don't know, I was terrified. I was like, I can talk about the product all day. I can reach out to people about the product, but talking about like the business opportunity, I was like, I'm not doing that. Like, so scary. And that's okay. That's okay that I'm like scared of that. But I had posted about being the girl for the job after I came back from Palm Springs. And I was like, you know what? Anyone that liked this photo that obviously wasn't a consultant, I'm going to reach out to them. And I'm just going to see like, did they like this photo because they felt like they click with something that they're kind of thinking about joining? Or did they just like it to like it because they thought it was a cute photo or caption? And I reached out to my friend's sister, Rachel. And I was like, I just asked those questions, like, did you like it to like it? Or did you click with something? And she was like, no, I've been thinking about joining for a while, but I've like convinced myself to not do it because I'm terrified of failing. And I'm like, okay, like what does failure look like to you? No one wants to buy anything. I was like, okay, like, can you think of 4 people in your life right now that would love Beautycounter? Yeah, I can. Okay, well, why don't you just start there, or asking like, what are you scared of? Like, what does failure look like to you? What are you scared of? Like just working through those questions. And by the end of the conversation, she's like, yeah, you're right. Like, I don't know why I'm so scared of this. She joined and she hit her milestone 1. And now she's like going for director, like what if I never reached out to her? What if I never said a word? Like she probably would have never joined. And actually I know that for sure because I asked her that. I was like, if I never reached out, would you have joined? She goes, absolutely not. So I think something I learned with that was, I might not reach out to every single person. That might not be the way I do this business, and that's okay. But the people that, I'm kind of thinking, okay, you could be really great at this, or maybe they're on the fence, like start those conversations. The worst thing they do is they say no, or they just leave you on red. Okay. Happens to me all the time. I'm kind of over it. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Most of my team has come from just posting, but it's because I do it so consistently. So people are like, oh yeah, she knows what she's talking about. Like, I want to join, right? What? Yeah, I know. Crazy. So many people are shocked to hear that too, because they do believe that I just do a whole bunch of like personal reach outs when it comes to this business. And it's hard. It is really hard. I'm having a hard time reaching out for Banded Beauty renewal now that it's only a year membership and they have to pay the same price with no or smaller welcome gift. I feel it's definitely worth it on their first order because it's usually a bigger purchase, but not so much for renewal. Do you recommend it and how does it add value? Oh my gosh, I love talking about Banded Beauty. Like I love it. So I don't know if you know this because I couldn't really tell. I guess you said smaller welcome gift, but you get a gift if you renew before your expiration date. So they're already getting a free product. They don't have to know what that is. I don't even really know what they are at this point. So I just say, hey, like your membership expires in a month. If you renew right now, Beautycounter is going to send you like a free product in the mail. And most of the time they'll do it unless it's someone that has like made maybe like 2 purchases, which is honestly rare with Banded Beauty. But most people will take advantage of that. And so I don't like think that someone's thinking a certain thing, like that they are thinking, oh, well, I don't get a good gift or there's, it's the same price. Like it's $29 for a year, like that is so cheap to become a member. Like what Amazon's like over 100 now, I think. And like Costco's like $70. So the fact that they get all these perks when they're shopping their favorites, like that's worth it. But that also is going to make more sense to people that are constantly reordering. So that's why it's important for you as their consultant. If someone does get a membership, like you are reaching out to them every 3 months about their product credit. You are making sure that you're treating them like with extra love, like whether you're sending them extra samples or you're doing more mystery hosted pop-ups for them, like make them want to be a part of being a member. And also too, with Banded Beauty, like when I'm having conversations with people, I will literally 100% of the time talk about Banded Beauty when they're making their first purchase. Because like what I'll do is we'll be talking about like skincare and they're like, okay, like I'm looking for this, this, and this. And then I'll make a mock cart on just like my app. Now you can like share it with people. It's like a new feature, but I'll screenshot it with like the products and then I'll automatically add Banded Beauty in there. I'll send them a screenshot and then I'll send them a voice memo and tell them why I chose each product for them. And then I say, I also added on Banded Beauty because you're going to get free shipping. You're getting $15 back in product credit. And you're also getting 2 free of our best selling products in travel sizes, like literally don't have to pay a dime. And I was like, you don't have to ever buy anything ever again. It doesn't like auto renew anything, but it's going to pay for itself on your first order. So easy, like just kind of add that in. Don't even like make it a question for them and people usually will do it. So how do you do the pop-up online and get all those products you share for so little and some for $0? Kate, are you asking like how to do a pop-up and earn those products? Like actually, like how do you do it? Or are you talking about like me specifically? Like how do I run pop-ups? Yeah, you never sewed one. Okay. Yeah. So pop-ups, you can do a lot of different ways. But essentially to open a pop-up link, like let's just say you're going to do it as like a link, like select my pop-up at checkout. You're going to go to behind the counter or your app, go to pop-ups, and then you can create a pop-up under your name. And even if you're doing a mystery hostess pop-up where you're going to give away those products, you still can open it under your name because when you choose a winner at the end of your pop-up, you can switch the host to somebody else, whoever the winner is. But yeah, you can just open it on there. And then basically there's like a little box that you can check that says, make it available on my website when you choose the date. So if you choose like June 10th through 20th, then your pop-up will run from that time. And then when people go to check out, they can select your pop-up at checkout. So I just say, hey, make sure to select my pop-up at checkout. And that's super easy to do. So you don't have to tell people that they're entering to win. If you want to order or if you want to get stuff for yourself, just tell people to select your pop-up. And then the more orders that are placed through that pop-up, the more free and half offs are earned. And there's sometimes where I earn like 2 free products and like 3 half offs. There's sometimes where I get 1 half off, whatever. I just am constantly doing pop-ups, like constantly, because you don't have to claim the rewards. There's no like time limit on that. So I have like probably 6 or 7 pop-up host rewards at like different levels that are just chilling behind the counter right now. And then when I want to give them away or cash them in for myself, that's what I'll do. I almost never purchase with my 25% off discount. I almost always use my pop-up rewards. And that's how you save money with Beautycounter. You can change the host after you've created it. Yes. So, yep, if you're going to open a pop-up right now and you want to end up doing like a mystery hostess, obviously you don't know who wins. So just open it as you're the host. And then when the pop-up's done, you can go in, edit it, switch the host to the winner, and then yeah, it'll ship directly to them. Yeah, I never purchase them at 25% off. The fact that I can get 5 free and 5 half offs, I'm like, why not? And this new thing where you can get like product credit every quarter, it's been so helpful. I love it. Okay. We've been on here for an hour. That's crazy. Does anyone have any other questions? If not, I mean, we've been here for an hour, so I can absolutely end that or end this. But yeah, I'm here to answer anything that you would love to know about the business. And also, this is being recorded. I think I already said that at the beginning, but you can share that with or share this link with your teams, or I think I'm going to just post this link to my Instagram bio as well. So then it's just saved for future reference. You are so welcome. I just really appreciate you being here. And it's just been so fun to be able to talk to other consultants. I just get a lot of questions about the business and even like hopping on like team calls. And I would like love to be able to do that always. I just don't have like the physical or emotional capacity right now to be able to like pour into other teams. And so I just think it's fun to do calls like this just to answer all the commonly asked questions. Like, I don't know everything about this business. I'm still learning. I've been learning a lot, but it's fun to share and hear from just a different perspective from someone other than like your mentor or whatever. So, okay, we'll do one last question. And then again, if you do have any questions that kind of come up in your mind and you just didn't ask or whatever, feel free to send me a message. I don't mind answering. Do you have any tips for helping your team? Yeah, building a team or just like getting your team to get into work mode is really hard. That is like the hardest part of my job for sure. Because people will jump in and they'll get so excited and then they end up like not doing anything. And it's the whole idea of like, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink, like that's the struggle. And so I think for me is just making sure that they know that I'm here to answer any questions they have. Like if they want me to help them set up a pop-up or help them shade match or whatever, like I'm here to help them. But also just like giving them the space to be able to work the business like how they want it. Like I'm not going to hold their hand, but if they want me to, I will, So yeah, I don't know. Most people join and they just kind of do it really casually, or they get in their head and they don't end up doing anything with it. And that's okay. That's why it's so important to always be recruiting people, because the people that you recruited 5 months ago are likely not going to be doing this business either. I think someone said like 1 in every 10 consultants that join actually work. And I'm like, it's so crazy. So yeah. I don't know if there's like really helpful ways to like help your team, but just make yourself available and make sure that you know the things about the business. Like, how we get paid and what qualifying volume means and what's happening. So then you're keeping your consultants like up to date with all that and they can go to you with their questions. Okay. I had so much fun and I just thank you so much for being on this call. And again, if you ever have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I just want to thank you so much for being here and just supporting me and my business. You guys are so awesome. So I just love this community so much. Bye, guys.